The climax, the maid's confession, shattered the penthouse silence like a dropped crystal glass. The babies were switched at birth, Elena whispered, her weathered hands trembling as she clutched the worn leather journal. Your son, Mr. Ashford, he's not your biological child. And 28 years of lies are about to destroy everything. What happened? On a rainy night in 1996, twins were born at Crescent Valley Hospital. One to billionaire investor Marcus Ashford and his socialite wife Catherine, one to Rosa Martinez, a nurse's aide, and her carpenter husband Miguel. The babies, impossibly identical, were switched by a nurse, desperate to secure better care for her own struggling daughter. That nurse was Elena's cousin. How it began. Elena had kept the secret for nearly 3 decades. She came to work for the Ashfords when Marcus Jr. was 2 years old, instantly recognizing something in the boy's crooked smile, a mirror of the Martinez family's genetic signature. She'd known Rosa's son, David, the entire time. She watched them grow from opposite sides of the city, in opposite worlds, yet strangely, impossibly similar in ways money couldn't explain. Every morning, dusting the Ashford mansion's marble surfaces, Elena felt the weight of her knowledge like an anchor. David worked as a teacher in the working-class neighborhood where he grew up. Marcus Jr. attended prep schools and yacht clubs, groomed for corporate takeover. The irony was suffocating. The triggers of truth, why she spoke. Elena's granddaughter was dying. Leukemia. The Ashfords' insurance alone could save her. Treatment wasn't available in Elena's neighborhood, but it was in private Manhattan clinics, where Marcus Jr. now sat on the board. The curiosity that gnawed at Elena transformed into desperation. She found herself researching genetic markers, DNA testing, medical histories. The pattern was undeniable. David's rare blood type matched Marcus Sr.'s old medical records. Young Marcus Jr.'s genetic profile didn't match either parent. On the night Elena decided to speak, she was cleaning the penthouse library. She discovered a photograph from 1996, her cousin Marina in her nurse's uniform, cradling 2 babies with guilt written across her face. The photo had been hidden in a closed book of letters Marina had sent Catherine years ago, confessing everything before she died in 1998. The letters remained unopened, undiscovered, gathering dust. Catherine had known, and said nothing. The explosion. Marcus Ashford stared at Elena with the expression of a man watching his castle crumble. You're telling me that my son, that everything I've built, every expectation he couldn't finish? Elena nodded slowly. The letters are still upstairs. Your wife always knew. Within hours, the penthouse erupted. Catherine admitted to finding the letters months after Marina's death, but choosing silence. I loved Marcus Jr. from the moment I held him, she said, her voice breaking. What good would the truth do? Destroy for families. But Marcus Jr. demanded answers. And once he asked the right people, DNA tests were done. The truth, when scientifically confirmed, was irrefutable. The twist: nobody expected the reason for everything when Marcus Jr. finally met David at a neutral location, a small cafe neither had ever visited. He discovered something that shifted his entire worldview. David wasn't bitter. He was curious. I always wondered, David said quietly, why I felt like I didn't belong in my own family. Why I loved Ashford literature. Why I was drawn to economics, even though Dad never understood it. Why certain memories felt like they belonged to someone else. Marcus Jr. realized that his success had always felt hollow, driven by expectation rather than passion. His entire life, the prestigious schools, the corporate internships, the 5-figure donations, had never brought him happiness. Meanwhile, David had built a quiet life, teaching underprivileged children, finding joy in small victories, experiencing genuine connection. They laughed together, a strange, cathartic sound. We got each other's lives, Marcus Jr. said, but maybe I got the wrong one. The resolution: nostalgia meets new beginning. Marcus Sr., after initial fury, made an unexpected decision. He established a massive education fund in David's name, not as guilt money, but as recognition. His biological son had been doing the real work of building futures all along. David accepted, with one condition: the fund would operate from both neighborhoods, bridging the gap between rich and poor schools. Elena's granddaughter received her treatment. More than that, she received a family expanded beyond imagining. Both Marcus Jr. and David insisted on being present at every appointment, and their biological mother Rose arrived with meals and stories, and a fierce love that transcended 28 years of separation. Marcus Jr. left the corporate world and became a teacher alongside David. They worked together, teaching high school economics in the same classroom where David had taught alone. The happiness that followed wasn't the satisfaction of power or prestige, it was the quiet contentment of authentic purpose. And Elena, she kept the journal, but updated it with new entries. Her confession had destroyed one family's illusion, but created something rarer, the truth that set everyone free. What remains? On quiet afternoons, Elena would sometimes sit in the park near David's old neighborhood, watching the community center, now funded by the Ashford Foundation, bustling with students. She'd see Marcus Jr. and David through the windows, laughing, planning lessons, entirely unaware they were being watched. She'd check her phone for updates on Elena's granddaughter, now in remission, starting her own application to college. The application essays mentioned both families, both worlds, both sides of a truth that had taken nearly 3 decades to surface. The Maid's secret had destroyed a lie, but in destroying it, it had built something genuine, the rare, precious happiness that comes not from inheritance or expectation, but from finally becoming who you were always meant to be. And sometimes, Elena thought, the most reliable truth of all is this: love doesn't ask permission. It simply waits for the moment when silence becomes more dangerous than the spoken word.